The life of most people follows a cycle that seems to have no end. Wake up early, face traffic or crowded transportation, spend hours at work, receive their salary at the end of the month, and, shortly after, see it disappear in bills, debts, and small purchases. This cycle is known as the rat race. You run, but always stay in the same place. Robert Kiyosaki warns us that if we don't change this logic, we'll work until the last day of our lives. This happens because when we live only on salary, we trade time for money. And time, unlike money, is a limited resource. A day has only 24 hours, and no one can buy extra hours of life. Imagine the following. You might even get a better job and increase your salary, but soon realize that the increase is not enough. Expenses also grow: a bigger house, a new car, more commitments, and you're back to square one. It's like running on a treadmill. You spend energy, but stay in the same place. Kiyosaki teaches that the way out of this trap is simple to understand, though not always easy to apply. Create sources of passive income. This means earning money even when you're not actively working. It can be through investments, businesses, royalties, or assets that put money in your pocket month after month. Think of this like planting a tree. At first, you care for it, water it, protect it from the strong sun. But over time, it grows and starts bearing fruit. These fruits keep appearing, even if you travel, sleep, or rest. This is exactly how passive income works. While you live your life, money keeps coming. If we don't change this thinking, we'll be trapped forever in the rat race. But when we learn to build assets, we can achieve what everyone desires. Freedom to choose how to live without depending only on work hours. Here's the key turnaround that separates the rich from the middle class and the poor: the way of thinking about money. While most people see financial life in a linear way, believing that the more hours of work, the more money they'll earn, the rich think exponentially. Let's imagine an employee accepts overtime to increase his income. He indeed earns a bit more that month, but also loses time with family, rest, and health. The next month, if he doesn't do overtime, he's back to the same point as before. It's a limited cycle because time has a ceiling. No one can work 25 or 30 hours in a day. The rich think differently. For them, each dollar is not just money spent or saved, it's a soldier on the battlefield. When well directed, this soldier leaves home and returns bringing more dollars with him. It's like forming an army of small warriors that work day and night for you. The bigger your army, the greater your financial victory. This mindset creates an exponential effect. Think of a farmer. If he plants a single seed, he harvests some fruits. But if he reinvests part of that harvest in new seeds, in a few years, he'll have an entire plantation. This is how it works with money. If you spend everything in the present, the cycle ends. But if you learn to reinvest, money starts multiplying on its own. Kiyosaki insists that this mindset change is the first real step toward financial freedom. It's not about working more, but using money intelligently so it works for you. When you look at each dollar as a potential multiplier, you stop living only on salary and start building wealth. When we talk about real estate, many people immediately imagine something distant, buying an entire house, an apartment, or even a building. But in today's world, you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars to start. Robert Kiyosaki himself teaches that the secret isn't in buying an entire property, but in having access to real estate assets that generate monthly cash flow. Today, there are accessible paths for this. An example is real estate investment trusts, REITs. They work like a condominium of investors. You buy small shares and become owner of a fraction of shopping centers, logistics warehouses, hospitals, or commercial buildings. In return, you receive monthly dividends, which are nothing more than your share of the rent those properties generate. It's as if you had several doors rented out without having to worry about maintenance, tenants, or bureaucracy. Another path is real estate crowdfunding. Online platforms allow thousands of people to unite to finance the construction or renovation of developments. Each investor enters with a smaller part of the capital and in return receives proportional returns. It's a democratic way to participate in the real estate market, which was previously restricted to big entrepreneurs. The central point is, real estate generates constant cash flow. It doesn't matter if you're sleeping, traveling, or enjoying the weekend with your family. That money will continue coming in month after month. And this is exactly what Kiyosaki defends. Assets that put money in your pocket instead of taking it out. Imagine, for example, that you invest in real estate funds and each month receive $200 in dividends. Seems little, but think, in a year, this adds up to $2,400. If you reinvest these dividends, the amount received keeps growing like a snowball. Over time, these assets can pay your fixed bills, and one day, even your complete lifestyle. This is how many ordinary people, without millionaire inheritance, managed to take the first step toward financial independence, transforming small amounts into real estate assets that work for them. Here's another fundamental pillar of financial freedom: stocks of solid companies that distribute dividends. Many people still think of the stock market as a place of speculation, where you buy low and sell high. But this isn't the vision of true long-term investors. Robert Kiyosaki teaches that the ideal is not to sell your stocks, but to hold them and let them work for you. Imagine that each stock is like a hen that lays golden eggs. You don't want to sell the hen on the first day. You want to care for it, feed it and allow it month after month or quarter after quarter to continue laying eggs you can collect. These eggs are the dividends, the part of the company's profit that is distributed to shareholders. Think of companies that have been in the market for decades, generating consistent results, like energy giants, banks, food companies, or technology. They have stable business models, continue growing, and therefore can share part of this growth with investors. When you accumulate stocks of such companies, you start building recurring income without needing to sell anything. The long-term effect is powerful. Imagine you have $10,000 invested in stocks that pay an average of 5% per year in dividends. This generates $500 annually without you lifting a finger. If you reinvest these dividends buying more stocks, the next year you won't receive just $500, but a higher amount, because you'll have more hens producing eggs. This process, called compound interest, transforms small amounts into large fortunes over time. This strategy creates something that salary never provides: lifetime income. While a job requires you to trade effort for payment, dividend stocks continue generating income even if you stop working. This is exactly how many investors build the possibility of living off income, sustaining their lifestyle without depending on the rat race. If before, passive income opportunities were restricted to real estate or stocks, today we live in an era where the internet has opened unlimited doors to generate wealth. This is where digital products come in. Online courses, e-books, recorded mentorships, spreadsheets, apps, and even audio or video content that can be sold to thousands of people at the same time. The magic of this model is scalability. You create once and sell infinitely without needing to produce everything anew. It's like planting a single seed that transforms into a tree capable of bearing fruit for years. Imagine someone who writes an e-book about personal finance. The hard work is done only once, structuring the content, reviewing, publishing. After that, each new sale happens automatically, while this person can be sleeping, traveling, or caring for family. This is the power of digital, transforming knowledge into assets. What you already know, your professional experience, your talent, your skills, can be transformed into a product that generates constant cash flow. And unlike real estate or stocks, which require initial capital, here the investment is mainly time, creativity, and strategy. Robert Kiyosaki always talks about using the mind to build wealth. Digital products are the modern expression of this philosophy. When you create something relevant and evergreen, that is, that remains useful for a long time, you're building an asset that puts money in your pocket repeatedly. Think of real examples: an online English course, a financial organization spreadsheet, an app that helps people train at home. They all follow the same logic: an initial effort that generates continuous return. And the best part, the internet connects you with millions of potential customers worldwide. This is a model that clearly shows that financial freedom isn't just about working more, but thinking differently, using your experience to create solutions that continue generating value and income, even without your constant presence. Now we come to a model that few people know, but which is growing more and more in the world: peer-to-peer lending, P2P lending. The idea is simple but powerful. Instead of leaving your money sitting in the bank earning almost nothing, you become the bank itself, lending small amounts to people or companies through secure platforms. In return, you get back your capital with interest. It works like this. Imagine someone needs $1,000 to open a small business. Instead of asking for this entire amount from the bank, this person can get the loan on a P2P platform, where 100 investors contribute $10 each. In the end, everyone receives their share of the interest paid. This means you don't carry the loan risk alone. It's divided among several investors. This model is interesting because it transforms traditional logic. Before, banks lent our own money and kept the profits from interest. Now, with technology, it's possible to cut out the middleman and keep the profitability that previously went to the banking system. It's a clear way to make money work for you. Of course, like any investment, there are risks. That's why diversification is essential, lending small amounts to many different people instead of putting everything in a single loan. This way, even if one or another fails to pay, most of your returns remain guaranteed. This is a practical example of what Kiyosaki always teaches. Don't depend on your daily effort. Create alternative sources of income. With peer-to-peer lending, money becomes an asset that grows automatically without you needing to spend more work time. Imagine you investing $200 per month in this model. At the end of a year, you'll not only have the applied amount, but also the interest received, which can be reinvested, creating a cycle of continuous growth. Little by little, this habit can build a solid source of extra income, bringing you closer to financial freedom. We arrive at the crucial point that Robert Kiyosaki always repeats: wealth is not the result of luck, but of consistency and discipline. Many people believe they'll get rich suddenly, with a stroke of luck in the lottery, or with a miraculous investment. But the truth is that financial freedom is built day after day, with patience, knowledge, and reinvestment. The secret isn't in working more hours, but in accumulating assets that grow on their own. Each step taken, investing in real estate, buying dividend-paying stocks, creating digital products, or lending via peer-to-peer, builds a solid foundation that over time transforms into financial independence. Think of this like training the body. You don't get strong after a single day at the gym. It's the daily repetition, the discipline of exercising, that brings results. With finances, it's exactly the same. Small, consistent decisions maintained over months and years make a gigantic difference in the future. Kiyosaki shows that true wealth is born from financial education. When you understand how money works and change your mindset, each choice becomes strategic. It's not about how much you earn today, but what you do with what you earn. Even small amounts, when reinvested with discipline, can grow like a snowball. Therefore, the final key is this: don't wait for a big event to change your life. Start now with what you have. Build assets, reinvest the fruits, and maintain focus. Financial freedom is not a distant destination, but a path you walk every day. And the sooner you start, the faster you'll reap the results. Many people look at financial independence as something impossible, distant, reserved only for millionaires. But the truth is that the journey begins with small, consistent steps. It doesn't matter if you have only $10, $50, or $100 to invest per month. The most important thing is to create the habit of investing. Think of a child learning to walk. She doesn't start running on the first day. First, she takes an insecure step, falls, gets up and tries again. Over time, these small steps become firm steps, then runs. The same happens with money. At first, results seem small, almost insignificant, but over the years, they accumulate and completely transform your life. Robert Kiyosaki always reminds that it's not about how much you earn, but about how much you keep and multiply. If you start treating each dollar as a soldier that must bring more dollars back, you'll soon have an entire army working for you. And here's the secret: discipline. If you invest little but do it every month without fail, you create a virtuous cycle that grows on its own. Time, combined with compound interest, does the heavy lifting for you. It's like planting a tree and years later resting in its shade, harvesting fruits every day. When we talk about financial independence, many people think only about numbers: how much I need to earn, how much I need to accumulate, what will be the value of my passive income. But Kiyosaki teaches that true wealth goes beyond money. It's about freedom of choice. Think, what's the point of having a good salary if you remain trapped in a job you don't like, living tired, without time for your family, your health, or your dreams? Financial freedom isn't just having money in your pocket, but being able to say yes or no without fear. It's being able to choose to spend more time with those you love, travel when you want, dedicate yourself to a personal project, or even help other people. When you build assets that generate income, money stops being a constant worry, and at that moment you begin to truly live. You no longer work just to pay bills, but to fulfill purposes. This is the greatest victory, transforming money into a tool, not a prison. Robert Kiyosaki always reinforces that money is power when you know how to use it, and the greatest power it can give you is that of freedom. Freedom of time, choices, and living life at your own pace. One of the most powerful things Robert Kiyosaki teaches us is that building wealth isn't just about you. It's also about the legacy you leave for others, your family, your children, your grandchildren, and even your community. When you learn to create assets and live off income, you not only conquer freedom for yourself, but also open the way for the next generations. Think of the difference. A father who teaches his son to depend only on salary is passing the rat race forward. But a father or grandfather who teaches how to invest, how to create passive income, and how to multiply money is giving a gift that lasts a lifetime. This is the power of financial knowledge. It crosses generations. A well-bought property, a portfolio of dividend stocks, a well-structured digital product, or even a solid mindset about money can sustain not only you, but also your family for decades. Kiyosaki always says that the greatest inheritance is not money itself, but financial education, because money can be spent, lost, or even stolen. But when you teach someone to think like an investor, you're ensuring they can create wealth on their own, regardless of circumstances. Building this legacy is the highest form of wealth, not just conquering your freedom, but leaving a path open for others to also walk. There's a resource that, when well used, can multiply any investment: time. It's the true fuel of wealth. Many believe they need a lot of money to start, but Kiyosaki shows that starting early, even with little, is what makes all the difference. Imagine two people. The first starts investing $100 per month at 25 and continues until 35. Then she stops. The second starts investing the same $100, but only at 35 and continues until 65. You know what happens? The first, even investing for only 10 years, can end up with more money than the second, who invested for 30 years. This happens because of the power of compound interest, which multiplies money exponentially over time. What this teaches us is simple. Don't wait for the perfect condition to start. The ideal moment is now. Each month that passes without investing is a lost month that never comes back. Time can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It depends only on how you use it. Kiyosaki repeats that it doesn't matter the size of the initial step, but the consistency. Over time, these small steps transform into a marathon of financial achievements. If you let time work in your favor, your freedom will arrive sooner than you imagine. Many people believe that wealth is just having a lot of money in the account, luxury cars, and enormous houses. But in Robert Kiyosaki's view, true wealth goes far beyond that. It's measured in time and freedom. Ask yourself, if tomorrow you stopped working, for how long could you maintain your lifestyle just with the assets and income you've already built? This answer shows the size of your real wealth. If the answer is just a few weeks, it means you still depend on salary. But if it's years, or even for the rest of your life, you've achieved independence. True wealth is waking up without the obligation to rush to a job you don't like. It's being able to dedicate time to family, travel, study something new, or simply rest without guilt. It's having the peace of knowing your bills are paid because money is coming automatically every month from the assets you built. And the most beautiful thing is that anyone can get there. It doesn't matter if you earn a lot or little today, but if you're willing to change your mindset, learn, and take the first steps. As Kiyosaki teaches, the poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. There's something that often costs more than taking risks: doing nothing. How many people do you know who spend years saying, one day I'll invest, one day I'll open my business, one day I'll change my life? That one day never comes, and time goes by without return. Robert Kiyosaki warns that inaction is one of the biggest financial traps. Not making a decision is, in practice, choosing to remain in the rat race. It's continuing to trade time for money, month after month, until realizing too late that life has passed by. Think about it. If you had started investing $100 per month 10 years ago, today you'd already have accumulated a good amount, multiplied by compound interest. But if you didn't start, the result is zero. The cost of not acting is invisible at first, but enormous in the future. Therefore, the biggest risk isn't investing in something new, but staying still. It's like a boat in the middle of the ocean. If it doesn't move, it ends up being carried by the current. And in the financial world, this current is debt, inflation, and expenses that never stop growing. The good news is that it's never too late to change. The important thing is to take the first step still today, so you won't regret tomorrow. Because, as Kiyosaki says, the difference between those who achieve financial freedom and those who don't is in one word: action. One of the biggest mistakes that keep people trapped in the rat race is believing that the blame for their situation is always on others. The government, the boss, the economy, low salary. This way of thinking steals your power. While you believe everything depends on external factors, you'll never have the courage to act and change your story. Robert Kiyosaki teaches something transformative. Take total responsibility for your financial life. This doesn't mean ignoring real problems like crises or market difficulties, but understanding that in the end, who decides your future is you. The government can change laws, the market can fluctuate, but it's your mindset and your actions that define whether you'll become a prisoner or creator of wealth. Think of two people who live in exactly the same city, with the same salary and the same conditions. One decides to study, learn about investments, spend less than they earn, and invest every month. The other spends everything on superfluities, complains about the boss, and waits for a promotion that never comes. 10 years later, the difference between them is gigantic. One built assets and achieved stability, while the other remains hostage to salary. When you take responsibility, You discover you don't need to wait for anything from anyone. You become the protagonist of your life. And this is liberating, because the moment you understand that your financial freedom depends only on your choices, you start making different decisions. You read more, study more, seek alternatives, take conscious risks. Of course, taking responsibility also means facing uncomfortable truths. Maybe you need to admit you wasted years spending too much, that you let opportunities pass, that you didn't organize yourself as you should have. But instead of blaming yourself, use this as fuel not to repeat the same mistakes. The past cannot be changed, but the future is totally in your hands. Kiyosaki often says, "The rich don't wait for someone to save them. They take control." And this is the invitation for you today. Instead of waiting for life to improve on its own, start acting. Because with each dollar you spend impulsively, you're weakening your financial army. But with each dollar you invest intelligently, you're putting a new soldier in the battle to conquer your freedom. Responsibility may seem like a burden at first, but it's precisely what brings lightness later. Because when you plant today, tomorrow you no longer need to live with worries. You live with choices. We've reached the end of this journey, and perhaps you've already realized something very important. Financial freedom is not a distant destination, reserved only for a privileged few. It's a path made of choices, discipline, and mindset. Robert Kiyosaki reminds us that it's not luck nor chance, but knowledge applied with consistency that transforms lives. Today, you learned that you cannot continue trading time for money because time is limited. You discovered that each dollar can be treated as a soldier, ready to work for you. You learned about passive income models, real estate, dividend stocks, digital products, and peer-to-peer lending, and understood that they all have one thing in common. They put money in your pocket even when you're not working. But the most valuable learning is that the decision is in your hands. No one will do this for you. It doesn't matter where you are now. The most important step is to start, even small, even discreet. Time will be your greatest ally, and discipline your greatest shield. And now, I want to make you a special invitation. If this video brought value to you, if it opened your eyes to see money in a different way, leave your like down below. This helps a lot so this message reaches more people. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. This way, you won't miss the next content, where we'll continue together exploring the paths of financial freedom. Thank you for accompanying me this far. Remember, the future is not built tomorrow. It begins today, with the choices you make now. And I ask you, what will be your first step toward financial freedom?